Our sponsor, weaudition.com, is really this extraordinary full-service platform for actors. You can put yourself on tape. You can get an acting coach. You can even just get somebody to read with you. It's really terrific. And the cost is to sign up is like $10 a month. But if you listen to I Don't Need an Acting Class, Walker has worked out this terrific deal where you get a 25% discount. Anyway, I suggest you try it out because it's really phenomenal. I can't believe I didn't think of it.
Welcome to I Don't Need an Acting Class with Milton Justice.
Things I've learned by working with everyone. Specifically with Walker, I wanted to get back to how is the character like me? How is the character not like me? I think just being able to sit down and specifically look for places where you find the differences because it gives you something to work on. And I think it's important. I think what we're looking for is what are the actor technique things that we need. I think one of the things that we're looking for is what are the things that I can work on, that I know how to work on. And one of the things that I know how to work on is a character trait. I think it becomes more important all the time because at least it gives you something specific to hold on to, especially if it's different. And if you strive to find something different, I mean, it's like you set out to say, this character is not called Walker Vreeland. You really do have to find what's different. You can find things that are like you. I don't think they're as much fun, but it's only because then you have to say to yourself, so, you know, if this is how I am, then what is it that I do? And I don't know. I personally hate self-analysis. If I say a character is over the top and I'm a little over the top, then and I have to analyze what makes me over the top, I just go, ugh, God, who cares? Anyway, so when Walker was working on John Margulies, now the interesting thing about these devised pieces that we're doing, which are very specific, what makes them specific is we really have no limitations. The truth is we don't in a play, but we really don't when we know absolutely nothing about these people. I mean, Walker's listened to John Margulies talk before. He's very, very calm. Michelle has listened to Deirdre talk before. She's not very interesting. I have to say, Michelle is more interesting. In fact, the way that Michelle tells her story is much more interesting than the way that, because Deirdre's a writer. She's not really a personality. I mean, when you're playing a person, you have to be something. Greg working on Dick Leitch, that's the most boring person I've ever heard in my life. And I know he was politically significant and he did all of these terrific things, but hearing him talk, it was just like, I'm sorry, did I fall asleep? So in this case, you actively have to find something that you want to play. And by the way, man, I did sides with Teo, sides with Greg over the weekend, and man, talk about digging to find something. I mean, this was, finding anything with these sides is a miracle. So with Walker as an example, what did you decide on that you want to focus on with John Margulies as something very specific that is the way he is?
Well, his modesty in that he brushes off attention.
Okay, so all right, this is a loose definition of plot. What I want us to try to get as a difference is a lot of people can be modest and brush off attention.
Well, that was just one aspect.
Yes, but I want us to figure out, but what is this character trait? What is this personality? What specifically can we look at that we can say, describes how he is without the need for dialogue? In other words, in order to get to modesty, I've got to have dialogue. I mean, unless somebody says something, I'm not going to know he's modest. Unless somebody says to me, my God, you're so brilliant. And he goes, oh, please. I'm not going to know that he's modest. But what is something that you can grab onto about him that you say, yes, I can work on this as a character trait?
Just a real ease.
An ease. There's an ease about him. You see, that's something that you can grab onto. That's something that's playable. It's also something that's totally different from Walker. I mean, I'm codependent on Walker, but there is no ease whatsoever when it comes to Walker. If nothing else, there's a lack of ease. In fact,
there's fourth and fifth gear, and that's about it.
Yes. So.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is the same, but like we talked about on Sunday, a softness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Take one of the things you've built and add that element.
Mm-hmm.
Add that clarity so we can figure out what is the nature of an at easeness about him. Add this element and now tell the story. Tell the story of your past with this added element.
I've been very lucky that most of my photographs were easy to take. There was one photograph that almost didn't happen. And believe it or not, it was Paul Bunyan and Babe the Blue Ox. Not the one in Bemidji, but in Spruce, Minnesota. I'd been shooting, and seemingly out of nowhere, a young Italian man approached me. And he said, "I'm sorry, sir, but you can't take photographs without written permission." And I was sort of stunned. And I remember he had a name tag that said Elvis on it. And he didn't look anything like Mr. Presley, but I remember he did have long sideburns. And so I said to him, I've driven a long way, all the way from New York City. Would you mind terribly if I shoot just for 2 minutes? And he said, "Well, what is it for?" And I said, "Oh, it's just a little project that I'm doing." And he was persistent. He said, "What's the project?" And I said, "Oh, it's just a little book that I'm putting together." And he paused, and he said, "I'll tell you what. If you promise to bring me a signed copy of your book when it's published, I'll let you shoot for 2 minutes as long as you don't call attention to yourself." And I said, "Done." And in fact, I thanked him in the acknowledgments. I'm not sure if he ever noticed that, but I was always grateful to Elvis.
Nice. Yes. Yes. I mean, obviously you see a difference, but do you know, it's specific. And it takes it, you have always been connected because you've been excited about him, and that's important. But it needed to move into who is he that you are excited about.
Yes.
So that's it. Now we're beginning to get a sense of him. So that's, yes, you see. And also, it's not, and I want to point this out because when I first talked to you about it, you assumed that what I wanted you to do was to change your physicality and to change the way you talk and to work externally. But what this was actually working more on how he lives in the world. And the effect of it was you slowed down. It was clearer. You see, so there's a difference. This is the reason that you, one, as an actor, will, sit back and say, okay, so you want me to slow down? Well, yes, I want you to slow down. You want me to be
about that. That's
yes,
the effect of
yes, and so
also you start to hear his rhythm.
Exactly, and that's the reason. It's because you have chosen a character trait or a personality, if you will, and so you begin to merge into that character trait. The air quotes performance of it is not artificially induced, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
It just comes out of what you understand to be his relationship to the world around him. That's not a weird concept, is it? Just looking specifically at, how is this person different from me? And because this person is different from me, what does that mean? What is the nature of that difference? Because I really do think we have to be so careful. Otherwise, we perform us. It will work in certain aspects, I suppose. But what we lose when we do that, I think, is something to grab onto that is acting. We miss that fun opportunity that we grab onto something that we like. I think we like playing something that's not us. It's a vacation. Yes, that's very nice. I think everyone will agree that it was interesting to just see you slow down without me saying to you, slow down. Good. Very nice, Walker. Good. Much, much, much better. Go back to all of it. Go back to all of it. Go back to all of it and rebuild it. This was something with Kareem. There has been a really violent, practically, going back to what we've been working on. And in doing that, it has made me realize when you go back to it, you have to adapt. You have to adjust because you know something now that you didn't know before.
I Don't Need an Acting Class is hosted and created by Milton Justice. Senior producer is me, Walker Vreeland, and director of online media is Evan Sollers. Music by Jeffrey Keezer Trio, May This Be Love, from their album On My Way to You. If you have a moment, please rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts. It helps other people find us. And if you would like to send an email, if you have a question for Milton, you can do so at questionsformilton@gmail.com. Another way to get in touch is on Instagram at I Don't Need an Acting Class. It's brought to you by WeAudition.com, a full-service online platform for actors. And if you sign up and use the code ACTINGCLASS, get 25% off. Again, get 25% off when you use the code ACTINGCLASS. Again, the website is WeAudition.com. Have a fabulous week, everybody, and we will see you back here next time.